Jacqueline Ombewa has become an unhinged lunatic on TikTok. And the reason why I'm calling her unhinged is because she does not know her boundaries and doesn't know when to stop. The viewership has gotten into her head. Peter Kioi has abused women here, and I have personally seen medical records where Peter Kioi was accused and taken to police. And he was accused, and I saw the medical records of the lady that he had sexually assaulted. Mbele na nyuma, the medical records are there. You should be ashamed of yourself, Jacqueline. And this is why I keep telling you that stop shouting about being an academician. You're a dimwit.
Hello guys, it's your girl Patient Status. Welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, make sure you hit the subscription box and put on the notification bell so that you don't any time I post a new video. Remember, I'm the queen of online gossip. So welcome to today's video. Don't forget to give it a like and leave a comment on the comment section.
God's love hapo kwa comment section. Block that person anajiita God's love. Thank you so much moderators. Asanteni. Sitaki interference, nikitaka kuongea block. Mtu yote mwenye na show up hapa na ujinga block. Hakuna kumute. Hapa ni kublock. We block, we don't mute. And once you're blocked, you are not unblocked. You're blocked permanently. Good morning everybody. Wacha tu ni make it very clear. Ukikuja hapa na matusi, you're going to be blocked. Period. I don't have time for nonsense. I'm not looking for stupid followers who can come and comment stupidity on my live. Dear TikTok, protect this live because I'm going to be talking about support for victims. I'm going to be talking against sodomy. I'm going to be talking against LGBTQI community. So dear TikTok, protect my life. And if there's anybody here watching, do not send me requests to play games. I do not like playing games and I'm not interested in games. So if you send a request to play a game, I'll block you. Sawa. Tuko sawa ma tuko sawa. Moderators wangu naona wote wamefika. Asanteni. So kazi ni kublock. Anybody that comes here to write nonsense will be blocked. I'm not interested in opinions from dunderheads and empty heads. I'm not. So dear TikTok, protect my life. I want to talk about issues that are affecting people of color in Kenya. Of course, I'm talking about Kenyan issues. So please protect this life, okay? Now, a lot has been happening on this platform in the past 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Now, guys, mtaona nikishindwa kusema fish na fish because I have said it and I'm repeating it again. I do not have 6 teeth on my top. Niko na mapengo and I have no shame telling you because I am not afraid of how I look and my body. Everything I'm doing is for my own benefit. And I have no apologies to make to anybody. And I do not care what you say about me or what is happening to my body. It is my body and it is my choice and I have no business explaining much more to you. Okay? So if you do not have money and you are upset that I am doing the things I need to do with my body, that's your funeral and you need to attend it. It's not mine. I'm not gonna mourn with you. I'm sorry. So, like I was saying, a lot of things have been going on this platform for the past 3 weeks, and I want to speak specifically about things that have been going on in Jacqueline Ombewa's platform. Because I am doing activism right now, I'm going to be very respectful. I intend for my message to be educative and my message to reach the people that it needs to reach. My messaging is supposed to be impactful because I'm doing activism. I am not here to attack Jacqueline Ombewa. If I was, ningetumia matusi, but that is not my intention. When I'm doing activism, when I'm doing my feminism, I intend for my feminism to be impactful, for my messaging to be clear, precise, and poignant. Okay? So I intend to be as candid as I can. And yes, I'm going to be speaking English for a big part of my life because I believe it's a language that is going to be delivering my message amicably as it should. First of all, As a person that has been a supporter of victims of violence, I am going to say that it is okay for a victim to go to whatever platform that they want to go to. It doesn't matter what platform they go to. What matters is, are they comfortable in that platform, period. So victims can go to any platform that they want to go to. As long as they feel safe in that space, they are allowed to go to that platform. And when that safe space has been created for victims in that particular platform, that platform should endeavor to make sure that the support for victims is incessant, and the support for victims is unending, and the support for victims is geared towards healing, therapy, and recovery. Those are the key things when we talk about victim support. So recently, there have been people who have been coming out to talk about their stories of abuse and their experiences with a bishop in Kenya who had supposedly assaulted them in ways that traumatized them. I have listened to some recordings because I barely watch Jacqueline Ombewa. Sometimes when people Zoom her, I get to listen. I regret I did not get to listen to all of the victims. But from the little recordings that I have heard, there are people who are coming out to tell their stories, and people who are coming out to talk about their experiences with an alleged perpetrator. And these people have been sharing intimate and deep stuff about their experiences with their perpetrator. First of all, I would like to say I am very sorry for every person that has gone through any form of sexual assault and abuse in the hands of anybody on this platform. I am completely sorry for you, and I do hope that you find the right support that you require and the love that you require during this difficult period. As a feminist, I will continue supporting victims, and I am pro-victims, and I will never scrutinize victims. I will never find fault in them. I will never poke holes at their stories. I will sit, listen, create a safe space, and pay attention to whatever they need to talk about, because that is my duty. Now, a lot has been happening, and I believe that it's important that I speak about some things, because one thing I need to make very clear, a lot of you here don't understand what activism entails, including Jacqueline Ombewa. And I'm speaking with authority because I am a person that has done activism in Kenya, outside of Kenya, and I am a person that has ensured people who have sexually assaulted women have gone to jail. I have ensured that my activism is not just in the streets, but it has also gone to the courts, and I have ensured that people have actually served sentences. You can go and Google me and you'll find the things that I did in Kenya. So activism entails identification of a problem, finding and gathering the resources and tools to tackle the problem, delivering results, and finding a pathway towards healing and recovery for the victims. That is what activism entails. Activism entails the use of social media. Activism entails street protests. Activism entails picketing. Activism entails the use of the media, and that includes social media. That is what activism entails. But the basis of activism, the main core of activism, is to achieve results that are beneficial to the people that have been affected by whatever vices that we are trying to counter as feminists, as activists, and as people who identify the issues within society that need to be tackled. Activism without result is dead. Activism without recovery and healing and support for victims is useless. Activism that jeopardizes the safety of the victims that we are supposed to be protecting is stupid, it is useless, is unfounded. And that is the main purpose why I have opened this live. Jacqueline Ombewa, I know that you do not have experience with activism, and I know that it is a territory you're beginning to touch on. And I understand that it is not your fault, but this live is purposefully to educate you, because I know that you have deficiencies in that area. Your inadequacies are a gap, and I think it's important that I remind you a thing or two about how activism should be done and how social media works when it comes to support for victims, because it is important. And I want you to know that I am not speaking for me. I am speaking for other people and other victims who could be quiet, who depend on social media and the activism of people like us and other activists for them to find safe spaces to talk about their trauma, their experiences, and to expose would-be or alleged perpetrators. So this is not just for Jacqueline Ombewa, but for other people who could be using their platforms to create safe spaces for victims. I hope that you understand. Number one, your platform is good, it's big, and everything you talk about it, but you need to understand that what you did today, and that is exactly what I want to talk about, is a big punch in a step towards finding support for victims. You jeopardized the safety of victims, you prioritized viewership, you prioritized visibility, you individualized the experiences and the trauma of victims by putting them in a place of jeopardy while using and inciting violence. Kenya is a country that has a constitution. Our constitution gives us the right to picket, the right to protest. It is in the constitution. But the constitution has no place for violence. There is no place in the Kenyan constitution that allows anybody to go into anybody's property. There is no place in the constitution that allows anyone to attack anyone, even if they were a thief, even if they were a murderer, even if they were being accused of rape or anything. You have no right to incite and send people to go and perpetuate violence against anybody or anybody's property. And for those reasons, I would like to just play something here so that you understand where I'm coming from. I found Jacqueline's behavior so disturbing, and I don't even understand how people think it is okay. Okay? I don't get it. Now, I want you guys to listen to this. This is Jacqueline Ombewa. This morning, I was sleeping when I think she did all that.
Church, ayuko. I swear to God, guys. All the things that now I know, hiyo church inafai iwe inachomwa. I swear to God, that place, that is not a church. That is not a church. And if some people are still attending there ati wanaenda kuomba, they are still at risk. They are still putting themselves in danger. Can't even believe it. Aya, Yuni wacha ni kudrop. Hebu tafuta jinsi utapita mbali utuonyeshe. Yuni sawa? Yeah. She's there. I believe her 100%.
Okay, mi naona hata hawa waumini wanakubaliana na mambo ya bishop wao, because maybe some of them have been recruited to it. Naelewa?
Yeah, naelewa.
So they don't see any problem hata wakienda kwa kanisa leo. So they know leo watu walikuwa na occupy, and maybe that's why they are there. Walinde huyo bishop wao na bishop wao wasitokeleze leo. So what we should do as a we burn everything down.
Guys, we need to bring that church down. We need to work towards bringing that church down.
Yeah, for them to know that we are safe.
God, we need to work towards bringing that church, that entire building down. Okay? Literally, we need to have a plan. Within how many weeks should that church be down? Tukishaeka kesi kotini, kesi meanza, we have already, corroborated the story of victim ya kwanza with a lot of witnesses and a lot of victims when you're the same experience. We go now for the church. We go for the church. Tunaweza endea kanisa saa zile watu wameshashikwa, maybe wako nje na bond. Yeah, we need to go for that church. I'm not joking now. After all that I know, we are going for that church. Juzi nilikuwa nasema hakuna story ya kuchoma kanisa. We are going for that church. Thank you, I am one boy. We are going for that church. Let's now be serious, guys. We are going for that church. They are here. Even that bishop, huyo nani, prophet ako hapa. Prophet ni mimi Ladyj nitakuchomea hiyo kanisa yako. Prophet ni mimi Ladyj nitaeka kiberiti ya kuchoma hiyo kanisa. I'm telling you the truth. Mimi Ladyj, I'll strike that matchstick that will bring that building down. Nikishatoa hiyo mabati, nitachoma kila kitu. I swear to God I will. I swear. That is the only way out. Hata weke watu wangapi wailinde saizi. My God, you don't know the power of the people. Nikisema we are marching there 5,000 people from TikTok. We will march to your church 5,000 strong to your church. And hakuna kenye utafanya. You will not get 5,000 people to counter us. You utapata wapi? Utapata wapi we bishop? Mimi saizi nikisema I want 5,000 people to go with me to that church, I will get in no minute. So I know you are here, you are listening to us. I want to tell you, we are burning that church down. Geoffrey, ongea. Sisi tuko protest. Uongea alafu shuke. Hatutaki stray bullets ikupate. Geoffrey, chukua mic. Ni kama hata amelala, amekaa usiku mzima akichanga. Guys, tutatafutia Geoffrey kitu as well on our platform soon, in the next few days. Tumuongezee. Huyu ni kama ameshalala, alikuwa live. Wacha nimwache tu hapo cause amelala. Aya, so up Samson.
Now, that is Jacqueline Ombewa. I'm sorry, I'm not even going to be able to play the whole videos of these videos because TikTok America is very sensitive compared to other TikToks. I don't know how Jacqueline Ombewa got away with inciting violence. I don't know how TikTok UK works. Sijui. But if I was the person that was saying these words on my live, TikTok America would definitely take my account for good. Because TikTok does not allow anybody to incite violence and use their platform to incite violence. This is incitement. This is dangerous. This is in no way protecting victims. This is making things very difficult and hard for victims. I'm going to just ask a simple question. So, when you say that you're going to be burning somebody's church, unaenda kuchoma kanisa ya mtu. Kanisa ndio ilibaka hawa watu ama? And then ukitaka kujua Jacqueline ni mjinga, ni mpumbavu, anasema ya kwamba wakisha corroborate story, which means bado hawaja corroborate story, they don't even know the real story. Na tena anasema ya kwamba ati tukishafika kotini ndio tutaendea makanisa yake. Guys, anybody who has been through the court system, the judicial system, understands that once you're in court with a case, you can't go attacking a person you're in court with. That is what is required by law. That once you're in court with someone, you cannot go attacking them. You can't go following people who you've taken to court. Then if you're going to be following them, why are you taking them to court? That's the question. And now let me talk about the double standards on this platform. I want to take you guys back down memory lane. And I always say this, that most of you don't understand the system and how it works, the judicial system and how the law works. Most of you have no idea. People who sit on Jacqueline Ombewa's platform, I'll start from that, because if you want to know that platform, and I will say this very categorically, Jacqueline Ombewa has become an unhinged lunatic on TikTok. And the reason why I'm calling her unhinged is because she does not know her boundaries and doesn't know when to stop. The viewership has gotten into her head and she's no longer being objective and is not using reason, but is being carried away by euphoria. That is what is happening. She thinks that she's some sort of god because she has people viewing her. But it's quite the opposite. The environment on TikTok loves and, is very cordial with idiocy. And that's why you have people cowering around you. Most people on TikTok are not literate, they are uneducated and are inexposed. And that's why they warm up to content from people like Jacqueline Ombewa. It's not because you're smart, no. It's because there's a lot of lunacy on this platform. And TikTok is a place where there's very, very mediocre people. That's why they warm up to you. It's not because that you are any special. No, you're not special. For you to be special, at least you've got to understand how victims need protection and how the law works. People watch your stupidity. That's what they're watching. Now, I want to talk about that platform in detail so you understand. So now that Jacqueline is claiming that she's looking for justice for victims or Bishop, this same Jacqueline, about 2 months ago, when Peter Kioi came on this platform, said it publicly that he was going to unalive a woman, that is Rachel, and he also confessed to beating up a woman. Jacqueline Ombewa and her cronies sat on a live supporting Peter Kioi. They even raised money to get him out of jail. That is Jacqueline Ombewa. While Peter Kioi had actually abused and confessed that he had beaten Frida. And he said he had no apologies to make. Jacqueline Ombewa sat on that platform with her cronies, supported Peter Kioi against a victim, that was Frida, and said that Peter Kioi deserves to be out. And she said that it doesn't matter if Peter Kioi had abused Frida, she is going to be on the side of Peter Kioi. This is the same person who is now pretending to care for victims of abuse because Bishop has been brought on the chopping board. Victim support cannot be selective. That same court, the judges in that court, I'll start with Raf Muli, has gone to jail for abusing his wife and even has an ankle monitor in the United States. He went to jail for beating up his wife and he sits in that court. His wife was a victim of violence and abuse. Peter Kioi has abused women here, and I have personally seen medical records where Peter Kioi was accused and taken to police, and he was accused, and I saw the medical records of the lady that he had sexually assaulted. Mbele na nyuma, the medical records are there. And this same man said that he will unalive Rachel Otuoma. This is the person that is a judge in the court. These are the people that are spearheading the courts to protect victims on Jacqueline Ombewa's court. Yeah? Geoffrey, who also sits on that court, I hope you guys all remember the saga between Geoffrey and Sandra. Natumai mnakumbuka vizuri sana what happened. It's because a lot of you people mkona a selective amnesia. You forget so fast in this platform. These are the people that sit on that platform to be judges. These are the people who are out there to talk to us about victim support and the protection of victims, while they have a history of abusing victims to the point that they've actually been taken to jail. Moderator, block Mercy. Anasema niko kwa mute. Block and block any other person that is coming to talk about my network. Thank you. So what is justice to you guys? Because for me, justice is not just about being selective. Support for victims cannot be about victims that suit your needs. Support for victims is constant. It doesn't matter where they're coming from. You cannot sit with a man that abused women and say that he's going to be killing women on a platform and pretend that you are a space that is safe for victims. And I'm going to play you a clip here from Peter Kioi. Because we are talking about a system for justice. Jacqueline is claiming that her and her team are interested in justice for the victims. They are not. Jacqueline and her team are interested in viewership, gifts, and money and connections that are going to make her make money on this platform. That is why everything she does ends up in mchango. And again, I listened to her saying, oh, our people need money to go back home. What the fuck is that? Activism, you don't get paid to be an activist. An activist gets out of their seat because they are uncomfortable with what they are seeing. You don't get paid transport money to go on the street. You leave your house willingly because you are uncomfortable with injustice. You don't go out because you want to be given money. No. Anybody that gets out of their home and waits for transport and claims activism or protection for victims is a liar. That is a business person. When you are uncomfortable with injustice, you don't get paid for it. You go out and protest injustice without being told. Nobody has to ask you. That is how it works. You don't get paid. You don't raise money for activism. You don't get to look for people who are going to be protesting. People wake up and do it by themselves. When people are uncomfortable, activism is about self-sacrifice. Activism is about being selfless. Activism is about laying down your life on behalf of other people. Activism has nothing to do with money. Activism is not about benefiting other people. Activism is purely about sacrificial support. Protection in activism is about results, not questions, not destruction, not violence, not harm. That is not how activism works. Activism does not entail violence. It doesn't. People have the right to protest and picket. People don't have the right to destroy people's property. You don't have the right to harm anyone, even if you knew they were a criminal. And who are you to say someone is a criminal until the justice system declares them so? You cannot take the law into your hands and you say that you're going to occupy it, you're going to be burning somebody's churches, you're going to be burning people's homes. You don't do that. That's mob justice, and that is exactly what we are against as people who stand for truth and justice. When we talk about activism and the ideals of activism, it has nothing to do with violence, because feminism and activism is against violence. How then can we be the same people who are perpetuating it? How then can we be two people who are pursuing two different causes? You cannot be a protector and destroyer at the same time. And I'm going to ask Jacqueline a very simple question, because Jacqueline Ombewa has been using her court to sanitize herself. That is what has happened. And suddenly we have forgotten she stole 8 million from us. She has managed to use the court to sanitize her theft from this platform. The way that she used little babies in autism to enrich herself and get away with it, she is now using the court to sanitize herself. She doesn't care about those victims at all. She doesn't. And most people who are coming to TikTok now do not know that Jacqueline stole from us. They don't know that there is no school that exists for autistic kids. So she has found an opportunity to sanitize who she is, and she's making connections outside of TikTok through the sanitization and viewership she's getting to get more money from other people. For those of you who don't know, because I'm seeing others people saying what, Jacqueline Ombewa stole 8 million plus on this platform. She came up with a lie that she was going to build an autistic school for autistic kids in Kisumu, which she never built. And she took all that money. She's never accounted for a single dime up to today. So in the spirit of taking the law in our hands, if we also decided to go and burn Jacqueline Ombewa's home, would she be happy? Because she's a thief. Would she be happy? Jacqueline Ombewa, would you be okay? Would you be okay if we came to your home and burnt it down because you took 8 million from people on TikTok in the name of starting an autistic school? Would you be okay? Because you know what? That hand of justice that you want to impact on another person, would you want it on your side? Would you want your schools, quote unquote, burnt down? Would you want your home occupied because you also stole from people on this platform? Would you like that? Would you be happy when someone makes a public call for your home to be brought down because you stole from us, because you are a thief? And the evidence is there, and I speak with authority because I took you to court for stealing. And I have information that even some TikTokers don't have access to and have never had access to, but I have it. So if I was to decide to use my platform the way you are using your platform, because I had the choice. If I wanted to, I would have also called for my people to come for you. But I chose to take you to court. Why? Because it was the right thing to do. Because I understand the rule of law. And I understand that as an activist, I do not have to be violent to be impactful. And what Jacqueline Ombewa is currently doing is very dangerous because, number one, it is not just putting the victims in danger, but it is also giving the perpetrator or would-be perpetrator an opportunity to get away with any violence that he had perpetuated. Because I believe 100% that this man is going to be pursuing everyone who had gone to his property and vandalized it. And while he does that, he's going to be protecting himself in the name of the Constitution in Kenya. He has a right. Everybody has a right. Has a right to be heard. The Constitution protects everyone. The accused and the victims. Let nobody lie to you that the perpetrator does not have protections in Kenya. Our Constitution protects everybody. If you're going to be going through a judicial process, both the accused and the victims have protections. That is how it works. So don't be fooled. So if you care about victims, what you need to do, once you have already presented and created a safe space for them to tell their stories, you find safety and security for them. And this is not something you're supposed to discuss on your platform. It is something that's supposed to be done off TikTok for their own safety. Then you get them therapy so that they are prepared for what is coming ahead. If it is a judicial process, they sit down with therapists and people who are going to be helping them tell their stories in ways that can be presented in court so that they are mentally prepared and they are mentally taken care of, because they're going to be facing their perpetrator. Those are the things you should have been doing. But right now, there is no police report. There is nothing ongoing in court. The security of the victims has been jeopardized. You have dragged a case that would have been wonderful, that would have seen a perpetrator behind bars by actually being a perpetrator of violence. Because what you did today, you incited violence and you threatened the life of a person. That is what you've done. So instead of protecting the victims, you have put the perpetrator in a place where the perpetrator is now going to be going to the government for protection. Because there are three things that happened today. The life of someone was threatened. The property was vandalized. The threats you made were public. And he has every reason to say his life is in danger. And the government has a right to protect him. And now, you are going to drag the case that was supposed to be very nice to support the victims. You're going to drag it at least 10 years back. Because first of all, I believe you do not have any intention of finding justice for the victims. If you did, you would not be sitting on a platform with Peter Kioi and Raphael Muli, who are also perpetrators of violence. So now victims are in a place where, number one, they are in a place of jeopardy because they could also be accused of being accessories to the violence that befell the perpetrator. You have put them in jeopardy. Now, number two, you have exposed them to the system. And number three, you have not started a pathway or a quest for justice for them, but you have gone to attack a church instead of attacking via a proper judicial process the perpetrator, as it should have been. So you have just added another layer of trauma on victims with the actions that you have perpetuated today. And the sad bit about what you're doing is that you are not in Kenya. You are putting people who are in Kenya in danger while you sit pretty in the United Kingdom. You are not here to face it. Now you have decided to use mob justice. And this is going to derail the quest for victims to find justice. Because everything you've done is a punch to the legitimacy of the stories of these victims, if you don't know. Because if you speak the truth, you don't need violence. If you're speaking the truth, you don't need to attack property or vandalize. Your truth shall speak for itself. There is no court that will admit and be okay with violence in the name of victims. And you are treading a very dangerous path. And everything that you have been doing, all the words that you spoke today are on record. So you have just destroyed and jeopardized the very little thing that the victims had to protect themselves against the perpetrator. Because as a person that has been speaking on behalf of the victims, you are now an accessory to a crime. How is that going to help the victims again? Tell me. And this is why I always tell you that you keep screaming about your academic qualifications, but you're just a dimwit. You are a braggart that really doesn't understand how the judicial system works. You lack simple social skills and don't know your boundaries. You don't know when to talk, when to shut up, when to read, when to think. You have zero social skills. And I think it's important that you learn a few things from what you've done today. And I'm making it very clear, if you are a victim of violence, you have to make sure that whoever or whatever platform you land in is a platform that has your best interest at heart. What happened today is a big punch towards the quest for justice for victims. And I don't understand how a person who claims to be an educator and an academician would make such a blunder. I guess it's the inexposure, and I think maybe it's backwardness, you know. And I always say that sometimes growing up in the village and being a person that has had a lot of village background can affect you if you don't take care of yourself and get the exposure that you need. The law is the law. The constitution is very clear in Kenya. You have no business. You have no business attacking anyone's property, attacking anyone. You have no business at all in the name of justice. That is violence. Na nimesikia hao watu wenu walienda mpaka wakaiba pesa ya sadaka. Yaani uko na njaa mpaka wafuasi wako wako na tabia zako. Umepeleka uwizi mpaka wafuasi wako wanafuata uwizi wako. Tabia za aibu. You cannot say you have a right to violence. It doesn't work that way. You can't say that. And then after that you claim that unachangishia watu, unachangishia vandalists, watu wenye walikuwa wanaenda kufanya vandalism. Who does that? You should be ashamed of yourself, Jacqueline. And this is why I keep telling you that stop shouting about being an academician. You are a dimwit. An empty head bolo that makes decisions based on what she can see on the top of her TikTok live. That is the viewership. And I've said it, you are an unhinged braggart, a lunatic that has no bounds. It's important that you start checking yourself, because I'm going to be checking you. And especially when it comes to victims. I don't play with victims and victim support. And it is for those reasons that I'm taking my time to investigate some things about what you've been doing with these victims. And I will make sure I do so. Because I believe you're in this for the money. You don't care about these victims at all. You don't, and you never will. It's very important that I do so. And that is accountability on my part. And I will say it again, that platform has no business talking about support for victims. Okay? It is a platform, ngoja kwanza. What the heck? Thank you. It's a platform that is led by people who, first of all, the owner of the platform herself is a thief. She also has victims, that is autistic kids. Second, the judges are people who have gone to jail for abuse, perpetrating and perpetuating violence against women many times. So they have no moral grounds or authority to talk about support for victims. They don't. It's all about the money and the viewership. I heard her saying somewhere that she is now the person that is most viewed in East Africa. She's what? If you're most viewed in East Africa, you don't have to struggle to raise 25,000. If you have 18,000 people viewing you, 25,000 is money that you should raise within 1 minute. One person alone should send you 25,000. You should ask yourself why people are not sending you money. You are the most viewed, but you're the most disrespected. That's what you need to get, because hata Maribel kuna viewership. Don't think that when people are viewing you, it means that you're anything. You're nothing. It's just that people sometimes align with stupidity, because that is what makes them happy. Having 10,000 people viewing you does not mean a thing. What is important is, are you impactful? Are you impactful? What is it that you bring out? What is your content? Do people pay attention? Is there anything that you can do to help victims with your 10,000 views or 18,000 or 20,000 views? Can you? Do you understand how the law works? Can you present a case in court? Have you taken anyone to court? Has any of your victims presented anything that corroborates their story to be put in an actual case? That is what is important. It's not your viewership. Your viewership is irrelevant. You are obsessed with the viewership. You're bragging about it like a lunatic on TikTok, because that is what makes you happy. It's giving you orgasms, because you've never ever been given that kind of attention. You crave for it. You've never been loved, and you've suddenly found a group of idiots cowering around you, warming up to your idiocy and stupidity. And it is shameful. It's loathsome. I wonder why you take pride in that. I sit in that platform and I listen to the things that you talk about, and when people are zooming you, and I'm like, what happened to reason? What happened to objectivity? What happened to common sense. How did we end up being here with an unhinged lunatic? A person with no boundaries and knows no bounds, with lack an iota of anything that happens in the judicial system, and doesn't even understand the constitution and the rights of people in Kenya. Social media is a place that has given a lot of people power. It's a powerful tool to use, and it's even more powerful when you're educated and exposed. And when we talk about victims, those are things that are deeply, deeply personal because of patriarchy, and we understand what happens because of rape culture in Africa and the setting in Africa and Kenya. Support for rape victims requires knowledge, education, experience, understanding, compassion, empathy, kindness. Those are things that Jacqueline Ombewa lacks. And I say that with authority because a person with compassion can never, ever use autism to get money from people. Support for victims requires people who understand the trauma of victims. And you would never allow a victim to be on a platform with a person that has abused a woman, a person that has gone to jail for abusing a woman. Support for victims entails a safe space by people who have the moral standing and education and knowledge and exposure to understand and protect victims. Support for victims requires resources. And resources require education, networking, and knowledge. Those are things that I know Jacqueline Ombewa does not have in Kenya. Support for victims requires exposure and knowledge of the law and the judicial system and how it works, and the delivery of justice. These are things I know that Jacqueline Ombewa lacks. Doesn't understand how the system works. That is why she comes out in a public forum and declares that she's gonna be burning churches and burning people's homes while a case is in court. Ulisikia wapi? The amount of ignorance on this platform is sick. And then you're gonna be finding some twats and ludos on this platform making and yapping, saying that, oh, Diana Ross is now talking about supporting the pastor. Fuck you, bitches. What I'm talking about now is supporting the victims. And as an activist and as a feminist, as a person who has ensured people have gone to jail because of abuse, and as a person who has been on the street and has protested and has moved our protest to court and ensured people have gone to jail, I speak with that authority. And I'll say this again. Support for victim does not entail euphoria and excitement because of viewership. Support for victims requires resources, the knowledge of where to find that resources, the right collaborations, and a pathway towards therapy, healing, and justice for victims. It has nothing to do with attacking other people. It has nothing to do with violence. You cannot be saying that you're going for someone for violence and then you perpetuate the same violence. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. The Constitution protects everybody, criminal or not. Everyone has a right to be heard, and everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. So I would appeal to the victims of that bishop to find proper lawyers, get their story off social media, find safety and resources in the right places, and take the bishop to court. The idea of you guys coming on TikTok and sitting on platforms thinking you're going to be getting the help, you're not going to be getting help from Jacqueline Ombewa. Let me give you that bad news. Because she lacks the knowledge and the resources and the networks to support you. She doesn't have it. And she lacks the empathy and compassion to understand your trauma. Anybody that understands the trauma of a victim can never jeopardize a victim's pathway towards justice. What Jacqueline did today is that she punched a big hole towards the path for justice for victims, while going for a perpetrator or would-be perpetrator. She has delayed the quest and cause for justice because she's opened another Pandora's box where a person is going to be claiming they have a right. They have a right. They have a right to be heard in a court of law. They have a right to live. The right to life is enshrined in the Constitution. The right to own property, the right to movement is enshrined in our Constitution. You don't get justice by burning down people's churches. What you get by burning down people's churches are dead children and women, like what happened in Kiamba. That is what happens. We cannot be the people who are supposed to be protectors and we also perpetuate violence. We've got to pick a stand. And for those reasons, I am going to be condemning, and I'm hereby condemning what happened today on this platform. I believe it is wrong. It should not have happened. And everybody should call out what happened today. If anybody wants justice for victims, they must make sure that they provide a pathway that is safe, a pathway that is therapeutic for the victims, a pathway that will ensure that finally the victims get the justice that they deserve. That is what I wanted to speak about today. Sawa sawa. And I'm thoroughly embarrassed and I'm thoroughly ashamed. I did not know that people who are supposed to be academicians have no idea how the law works or what is enshrined in our Constitution. That's why I keep telling all of you guys, you need to read. Most of you need to read because there are a lot of dimwits on this platform. Masomo ni muhimu kabisa. Read, I've told you guys. Very important for you to do so. Nani we ananitumia request? Who is sending a request here? Anyway, I'm going to play for you a clip by somebody that I think you need to listen to. One of the judges on Jacqueline Ombewa's court. Let me see.
Tenda Rose mali kesi ilienda. Ni aliweka kwa mkundu yake.
By the way, kesi yenu ilienda aje na huyo mnani ule msichana Mosa live?
Nimekuambia kama kesi iko na Diana Rose hata kama ni Amanda siende kotini. They will go with my timetable.
Wali kusummon, Oshai kusummon.
Nobody can summon me as much as Diana Rose is involved.
Hiyo mmenishangaza, hiyo mmenishtua bana. Mimi na kapunywa wapi?
Guys, let me tell you something. Why am I so mad like this? Can I tell you something? Because you know,
Mimi nimekasirika. Mimi siwezi ambia kitu kuhusu Diana Rose. Mwanamke hata atakuja hapa kunipigia mdomo kuhusu Diana Rose na kudinya wewe na watu wa kwenu mbwa.
Ala, ngoja pita. Hii trip yenyewe walikuwa wameenda Diani.
I'm telling you, yes.
Au madems walijipeleka mpaka wakajilipia fare.
Ya nakwambia kuna msichana alilipwa $50 aende kwa hospitali. Daktari akanipigia simu. Daktari akaniambia kama najua Chris Kirubi. Wewe. Hakuna kitu naweza saa hii bibi ya Big Daddy yako hapa online anachukuliwa watu 4,000 kama mtu kameka kama kapanya buku kako hapo live kumsikiliza this is awareness this is a mental health care kike kumanyoko Big Daddy anapotea tu peke yake pale walizana Big Daddy Alafu ona kufanya kitu. How do you tell me that is a woman mwenye akona akili timamu mwenye anaita sister yake malaya? Aliwahi kuja, wacheni wakumbushe event. Tulikuwa Rosso, Nyako na watu wengine kwa guest. Mkunduazi wewe. Malaya mujinga. Cheap malaya. Fuck you. Asshole. Mkundu ya nyoka. Matako ya siafu ambayo imekonda. Kwenda huko chanika kama ngoma ya jeshi la wokovu. Puliamu. Kino wewe. Diana ni mtu wa kuridhishia mimi pita Kioi. Diana msenge wewe. Mwanamke mimi nilikuambia ukikuja Kenya Mungu mmoja wewe. Wewe ndio utajua maana ya kwa maana wewe. Ndio nakuchukia. Afadhali niende jela maisha yangu yote. Wewe. Haizi fanya kitu. Huyo mwanamke amekuwa tu akiongea tu.
Huyo ni judge ya Jacqueline Ombewa. It's very I've kept it. Ali threaten life, akasema hapo ataniua, atanikatakata na mapanga. This was on a live. This was a man on a live. Senior counsel wa Jacqueline Ombewa. This was 3 days ago kwa live ya Mwakio. Those are the judges on Jacqueline Ombewa's platform, okay? So guys, I'm gonna say this very clearly. Jacqueline Ombewa is simply making money. She doesn't care about victims. She doesn't, and she never will. She's only interested in making money. She's only interested in viewership and visibility on TikTok. That is all. There's nothing else. Sawa. Na mkae mkijua ya kwamba Jacqueline Ombewa bought 2 of the victims kukuja kusema story. Umeelewa? Wawili walinunuliwa, walilipwa pesa kukuja kusema story. I have been doing my own investigation. Tumeelewana? So because of viewership, she's obsessed with anything. She wants to do, she's desperate. She's willing to go anywhere to do it. Anywhere. I am the one who has been doing my own investigation. Na nitawaletea recording hapa msikie. Kuna wawili walilipwa na Jacqueline. Like, how desperate can you get? How desperate? Just because you want people viewing you. Every time you do things which are not good and things that are not pro-victims, and you water down the experience of real victims, you deny the chance for other victims to come to speak out. That is what Jacqueline Ombewa is doing with her platform. She's using her platform irresponsibly and recklessly, and in the process, she's stifling and silencing the voices of other victims who have real and true stories of abuse. She's derailing their quest for justice. That is something that we should not be okay with on this platform. And I'm appealing to anybody who has any issue or any story, anything to do with trauma and violence, not to show up in that platform, because that platform does not care about you. She cares about the viewership. It's all about her. She is individualizing everything. It's about her. It's about what she can put out there, how she can be seen, how she can be viewed, how East Africa loves her. That is all that she cares about, nothing else. A person that cares for you as a victim will protect you first. That is all I wanted to say today. Sawa. And thank you everybody for being here with me. To my moderators, nawapenda nyote, asanteni for the good work that you do. I respect and cherish you. Thank you very, very much. And we can all see the trail of Jacqueline, her trail of destruction. Sai, Shosho Yachira ako wapi? She's nowhere to go, to be seen. She brought Shosho Yachira hapa. She ended up putting her underwear. Alituwekea masuruali zake. Sai Shosho Yachira bad girl akifungua live kucheza hata game, hakuna mtu anamgift. Juu Jacqueline alimleta alafu akaonesha masuruali zake, akamdhalilisha kutumia platform yake. If she's not in control of you, she destroys you. That is what she does. And that's why the victims need to be very careful. She did that with the shosho wa Nyarawendo. Ule shosho wa Nyarawendo alikuja akaleta felo aende pale amcontrol apate pesa. When she's no longer in control and she can no longer use you to gain money, she destroys you. That is what she did with Akina Felix. Akaweka felo pale anakumbatia mama mzee. Watu wakaanza kuona ni kama mama ni malaya. Akamdestroy. She brought a young man to go and live with an old woman. And the young man was behaving as if akona relationship na huyo mwanamke. Nani anaendanga kukumbatia mwanamke mzee vile mbele ya watu bila aibu? That is what she did. She made sure she derailed every quest for this woman to stand on her own. And if she is this type of person, if she cannot use you and have you, then she's gonna destroy you. That is what she did to Nyarawendo, Shosho Wawendo. And Shosho Wawendo cannot do nothing now. She's gone. She's useless. Nobody cares about her. Nobody listens or knows about her. She did the same thing to Bad Girl. Jacqueline alidhalilisha Bad Girl, akaleta mpaka suruali za Bad Girl kwa platform. Akatuonesha masuruali red. When she was doing that, a lot of you thought she's creating awareness. No, what she did was actually destroy her dignity and everything that identifies who she is. Alimuharibia. Bad Girl sahi akikuja kwa live hawezi pata hata hand heart, hata heart me a party. But she used these people for content and viewership. The people that were going to her platform because of Bad Girl are still in her platform while they cannot go to Bad Girl. That is what has happened. And it is shameful and it is sad. If you people cannot pay attention to Jacqueline Ombewa's trend, I don't know what can save you. If she cannot get a hold of you and use you to benefit herself, she destroys you. That is what she has done. She's obsessed with views. She's obsessed with being seen and heard. And she's willing to do anything and everything for it. That is why her platform is very dangerous for people who have stories of trauma and abuse. Because she doesn't care about your feelings. She cares about herself and her visibility. It's important that you pay attention to that. Sahi, Triza, mnajua pali Triza amefikia? Story yake ilifika wapi? Where is Triza? And even as we speak as mothers, her children, she's not with her kids. Where did the story go? And I'm telling you guys, this Bishop story was brought to sanitize what happened at Jacqueline Ombewa's platform with Njugu Karanga. I'm telling you. And she gained financially a lot with that story. Her intention was not to help Triza. No. She got the visibility from the Kikuyu community. And she even at some point started calling herself Murima, yeye ni Shiro. And she used the Kikuyu community to enable herself. Wezi ukaniambia Triza ako sawa na ameacha watoto wake. There is no woman who wants to live without her children. So you need to pay attention to behavior, Jacqueline's behavior here. She's a user and an abuser, that's all. If she cannot get what she wants, she destroys. And that is what she has done on this platform. And I'm sure there is also another thing coming next. She's going to use that and do that again, because for now, her visibility is what is important. But let me tell you, social media is funny. I remember a time when Buyer Beware was a group that was used dangerously. When Atioiso was with Buyer Beware, power got into her head. She started stealing from people, bribing people to put out their cases and to expose them. She started becoming conniving and taking money from people. She started exposing and harming people, not with the intention of recovery or helping other people, but to enrich herself. And her actions led to the death of more than 6 women by suicide. That is what happened. Dear TikTok, I'm talking about mental illness. Please protect my life. So what Jacqueline is currently doing, we'll end up where buyer beware ended up, because greed and justice can never lay in the same bed. Thank you everybody. Take care of yourselves. Tukutaneni kwa streets.
So thank you so much for watching the video to the end. Remember to like, share, comment, and if you have not subscribed, please make sure you subscribe and put on the notification bell so that you know every time I post a new video. So guys, thank you. I'm gonna see you on my next video. Bye.